look several different ways, and it's all fine, okay? Notice, though, that your hands are still going to be on your knees or on your legs. Okay, you're still hunched over. You got to use your whole body, all right? When I pull up the walls, I am going to, with my middle finger, I'm going to pinch some clay. Okay, I'm going to make a little divot, and then I'm going to use that divot, and I'm going to pull it up slowly so that I can move all the clay above it up. So with my middle finger, I'm going to pinch and put a divot in here. Kind of see that? Not really. So now when I feel my pot, I have a little ridge at the bottom. Okay, so I feel the bottom of the pot, and then I feel a ridge. Now I'm going to take that ridge and I'm going to pull it up. This part you have to go really slow. Okay, so I want you to pay attention at how long it's going to take me just to pull it up once. So I'm going to find that divot that I made with 2 fingers, and I'm pushing towards my outside hand, and I'm going to go straight up. I'm going to stop and kick. I have to stop and get some water. It's kind of like a shelf in your pot, and you're kind of going under the shelf and you're pulling the shelf up. Okay. Okay, so that's one pull. So that took me probably a full minute. Okay, I have a lot of students that are just like, whoop, and then it flops, and they're saying, what did I do? Well, it took you 2 seconds to pull up the walls. It should take much longer than that. Okay, if you're ever throwing and you see a spiral in your pot, that means you're going too fast. Okay, you gotta go slow. Now, I pulled it up once, I'm gonna pull it up again. It takes a few pulls to get the walls as thin as you need them. The walls should be about as thin as the dishes you use at home. Okay, they should not be super thick. They will not last through the kiln if they're really thick. If you're getting to the point where you can't reach with your elbows on your legs, then just tuck your elbow into your side, and you can pull this way. So I'm putting a little divot down here, and then I'm going to go straight up. My outside hand is going to move with my inside hand. Okay, because if the clay is not there, your hands should be touching. Kind of a ridge here. Okay, there's another pull. I have a little bit left down there, so I'm going to pull just a little bit one more time. So my elbow's tucked. A lot of times with beginning throwers, you're going to have a lot of clay on the bottom. So you really need to make sure that you pinch quite a bit when you start pulling your walls up. Otherwise, you're going to have a really thick bottom, and then you're going to have no clay to pull up. Okay, so you'll have all this clay, and then you'll have this tiny pot because you didn't get enough clay at the bottom. All right, so now we have a cylinder. Okay. What I normally do next is clean out the middle. While you're throwing, you get a lot of water down there. If water stays down there, it just takes longer to dry. So before I start shaping it, I'm going to take my dry sponge and just get that water out. because if I shape it and it's too small to put my hand in it, then I will not be able to do that later. So I have some chunks of clay and some water down here. Grab that. Okay, what's my next step on there? Trimming the top. Okay, you're also gonna trim the top. So I'm gonna trim it now. I might trim it again later after I add shape, because sometimes when you add shape, the top gets a little messed up. What I'm showing you today is actually only half of throwing a pot. There is another part, which I'm gonna show you on a video today if we have time. You will trim the bottom of your pot. Okay, so after it's dried a little bit, you're gonna turn it over and you're gonna put it on the wheel and you're gonna trim the bottom. Now, if your pot's not even on top and you turn it over, you're gonna have a really hard time trimming, right? Because it's not gonna lay flat. So you'll wanna trim the top. You're gonna take your needle tool, you're gonna put it in your dominant hand. You're gonna put your dominant hand in your non-dominant hand. You are going to scoot your body back on the wheel. Okay, and then you are going to stab under the lowest part. So you might have like a little dip in here. You will stab under the lowest part of the top, okay? You're not gonna trim this way by lowering your needle tool and trimming the top like that. There's no way you're gonna get that even. You have to stab so that there's clay all the way around it, okay? I like to say it's like stabbing a person. You're not gonna hack at them. You're gonna stab them in the middle, okay? Which is morbid, don't stab people. Okay, so I'm gonna take my tool and I'm gonna slowly hold it steady until it goes all the way through, and then I'm gonna lift it up, okay? Now it's even. All right, so I can take my finger and I can kind of smooth that out. Your pots will be probably smaller than this. As you throw more, you're gonna start to wanna add shape. So this isn't part of your notes, but I'm gonna show you how to add shape when you get there. When you add shape, it's just like pulling up the walls. You're gonna have one hand on the inside, one on the outside, and all you're gonna do is just start to move your hands, okay? So if I wanted this to go in, I would push inside, or I would push with my outside hand in, and I would push with my inside hand out. Okay, so you can add a little bump. Let's go faster. So I can push it in like this. Okay, and then maybe I can take my hand, and notice my left hand's still gonna be here, but I can kinda, I'm just taking the clay and I'm pushing it like this. So if I want a little bit of a lip, make it go out. Okay, so there's a lot of things you can do once you get comfortable throwing. All right, I'm gonna stop here with this one, but the last step is to clean everything up. So if I needed to, I would trim the top again, but I've already trimmed it once and it still looks even. And I can still reach in here, so I'm gonna clean up some of that water that I got in there when I was adding some shape. I'm impressed with myself today. It's a nice looking pot.
You're gonna keep it?
I'll keep it to show you guys how to trim. And then I normally just keep them, and then when somebody has a birthday, I glaze them, wrap them up, like grandparents and stuff like that. Sometimes. Okay, so I've cleaned it up. Okay, I'm ready to take it off the wheel. So I'll stop my wheel. You never want to touch it when it's stopped, except for when you're taking it off the wheel. Okay, before I take it off the wheel, I'm going to wash my hands. So I'm not going to go to the sink. I'm actually just going to take a sponge and I'm going to clean the clay off of my hands. Okay, when you're throwing, you want to get as much off your hands as possible in your little slip bucket here, because you can't have clay going on the sink. Okay, so the more you can get off here, the better. All right. To take a pot off the wheel, you will need a few things, and they're all on this back counter. A wire tool, a small board, and scooper tools.
What was the last thing?
Scooper tools or lifters. Oh, let me show you real quick too. This wood rib tool. I have a lot of extra here, and I told you we're gonna trim it, so you will take some off the bottom. But if you have a bunch and you want to take some off while you're throwing, you can take this wood rib tool and just hold it steady and start taking some clay away. Okay, it's not completely necessary at this point, but if you want to trim a little bit now, it just kind of saves you from having to do a bunch later. Okay, I nicked that. All right, so now I'll take it off the wheel. You will start with your wire tool. You need to hold it flat against the bat. Do not wrap it like floss because it will cut your fingers. Ironically, out of all the things I do during this demonstration, that is what students remember the most. Because it has to do with pain, I guess. Don't do that. So what I normally do is I hold the paper clips and then I just kind of scrunch them up like that. And then I hold it against the bat with my thumbs and slide under. Whoa. You're going to do that 3 times. Okay, then I'm going to take my scooper tools or my lifters. I'm going to get them wet in my bowl, and I'm going to push them against my bat and slide them under. Okay, when they meet each other in the middle, I can start to wiggle. My feet are holding this flat because if I'm wiggling and the wheel's moving, that's not going to help. I'm going to wiggle and I'm going to scoot it off of my bat and onto my board. Okay, these will come off. If you pull low, they'll come off. Sometimes you have to use your thumb to stop the clay from moving with the scooper tool. Excuse me. Okay, all right, so now I have my pot. It's finished. On your throwing day, you will take your pot, that's done, and you will put it at your desk. Okay, so nobody's sitting where you're sitting because that's your spot. So you'll sit at your desk, and then you will clean your bat. If you have clay on it, you can just stick your thumb on it and just take that off. You'll need to wash and dry it, which you can do with your sponge. Okay, I'm going to take my dry sponge and I can just start in the middle, hold it down, and now it is clean and dry. Then you will clean your scooper tools off. So if you have clay, extra clay, you will just wipe them off and put them in your bowl. Then you will take them to the sink and wash them and put them back on the counter. Okay, please don't leave these messy. It's not very nice to have to clean someone else's mess up before you use them. Okay, and then you will make sure your hands are dry and you will get new clay and you'll start again. Okay, so on your throwing day, you will throw for the whole block. Okay, so you might throw 1, you might throw 3. Okay. Now, if you flop a pot, which means it falls over or you go through the middle, okay, it's not usable, you will take all that clay and you will squish it into an arch, and I will show you how to do that on Monday. Okay, so you'll make an arch is all you need to put on there. You'll put that arch on the wedging table, and then the next day somebody can use that